Hi guys, just woke up a little while ago. Probably looking a little rough. I noticed this morning, but first thing I gotta say is, man, 3-day weekend. I actually got Veterans Day off. That is just awesome. I do love days off. 3 days. Yes. And I've got a lot of it planned out too. But I woke up, I have a little bit of a soreness in my nose. I'm not sure if it's some kind of infection or it feels like it might be a slight infection. So I'm going to utilize the colloidal silver treatment that I do whenever I get sick. What happens is I put 100% solution of colloidal silver into my ultrasonic humidifier, and the ultrasonic humidifier blasts the solution into a vapor, and I breathe about maybe 10 breaths through my nose or into my lungs, depending on where the cold is, and that knocks the cold right out. If I understand right, you see, I'm a diesel mechanic, not a doctor. I'm not a microbiologist, but from what I understand, you get a virus, right? And the virus starts to irritate the tissues in your lungs or your nose or whatever, and then when the tissues are irritated, they become vulnerable to bacteria, right? And then basically the bacteria really start chewing into your tissues, and that exposes more tissue for the virus to infect, and then the virus gets in more, and then the bacteria can get in even more. So they actually act as sort of a team to just mess your whole freaking week up, right? So what I do is I utilize the colloidal silver treatment, and colloidal silver is very well known and proven in the laboratory to totally destroy bacteria, right? And when this happens, then the virus is left by itself, and it can only get in so far, and then your natural immune system has a much better shot at wiping that virus out. Now, some people say that colloidal silver is antiviral as well, but I haven't seen a lot of evidence of this. At least I haven't seen it from any reliable source, but I'll tell you, if you knock the bacteria out, the virus is not going to be lasting very long. So basically, and then oftentimes you can totally be completely done with the virus and you still have a bacterial infection. That happens to a lot of people, and it used to happen to me, where you get this crud in your lungs and you're gurgling away and coughing garbage up, and that could go on for weeks and weeks, a month or even. So I've heard of some people having that thing for 2 months, and I think they call that bronchitis, or if it gets really bad, they call it pneumonia. If I understand correctly, pneumonia is a bacterial infection. By the way, I am not a doctor. This does not constitute medical advice. So anyway, this is what I do. Let me show you. Oh, man. Coffee's almost done. Like my dog door I put in? Highly cool. I'm going to lock it pretty soon so that no critters can come in. Hasn't been a problem yet, though. This is the bathroom that I use. Sorry about it. Sorry if it's dirty. It's sort of a utility room bathroom. This house has 3 bathrooms. It's pretty weird. But what I do is I don't bother filling the reservoir, right? Because once you get something in the reservoir of a of a humidifier, it will basically be difficult to get the water out. You have to leave the cap off and shake it around and until it totally evaporates, then you can put it away. Instead, I just pour it directly into the base. I have a machine that I purchased for about $300 back in 2009 or 2008. And it actually produces colloidal silver. So all I have to do is buy distilled water, and then I can produce all the colloidal silver I want. And considering how expensive that stuff tends to be in health food stores and such, I think it was definitely worth the investment. So anyway, I just pour some of the colloidal silver into the base, and then you put the lid on it so that the machine doesn't so that the machine will turn on, and then boom, you've got yourself some colloidal silver vapor, and it's just like putting colloidal silver on every place in your lungs that you could never reach with a nasal sprayer or gargling or anything. So if I have some pain in my nose, and it feels irritated as if I have some kind of infection. My voice feels a little bit funny too, so I'm just going to go ahead and do this as if I had a cold. So I basically just get really close to it and take 10 deep breaths. But you get the idea. And if one nostril is sort of closed down like they tend to be, just put your thumb over the good nostril and just kind of force it. And then, of course, if you have anything in your lungs at all, just... Now, there's a real cough reflex from this. It sounds familiar, doesn't it? But if you start coughing, just back up a little bit and get a less dense colloidal silver solution or vapor, you know. And that's about all you need. Now, some people actually drink this stuff, right? Now, I am not really in favor of that unless I had some kind of ulcer or some kind of infection in my stomach, right, or in my intestinal tract or something like that that was caused by bacteria. And if that was the case, I would drink it. And I have before. I got a mild ulcer by abusing cold medications about 6 months ago, and probably close to a year ago. And I did, when it was significantly bad, I was starting to take some colloidal silver, just drinking like a cup full of it or something every night before I went to bed. And I found that it was very helpful, and it knocked the bacterial infection down, and then that ulcer problem just went away. So I'm a big fan of colloidal silver. A big enough fan to buy my own machine so I could produce all I want. Now, everybody who Googles colloidal silver will, of course, eventually, in fact, probably very soon, because it's everywhere, they will encounter the blue guy, right? There's this one blue guy, and what happened was he makes colloidal silver with tap water, right? And then the silver colloids, those little collections of silver molecules suspended in distilled water, those colloids, they actually bind with the minerals in the water. And then when he was drinking water glasses full of that crap, oh, and he even rubbed it on his skin. He really wanted to be blue. But anyway, as soon as he did that, then he went out. Then he would go outside, and over a period of time, he would like develop just like an old photograph, which used silver just the same way, and he turned blue. He looked like a human Smurf, right? And the pharmaceutical industry, which does not benefit from people using colloidal silver, they have vastly more expensive antibiotics that they would prefer that you use, right? Can't imagine why. Maybe it's money. Well, anyway, what they do is they fly him, or they used to before he died recently, but they would fly him to medical conventions and medical get-togethers and whatnot, and have him walk around saying, "Oh, I took colloidal silver. Look what it did to me." And it's basically to discourage any medical doctor from recommending colloidal silver, right? And it worked like a charm. Nowadays, whenever anybody says colloidal silver, they always say, "Oh, what about the blue guy?" That is so stupid. The blue guy even ran for governor, even though he had 0 qualifications for it. And I suspect it was just to get his blue ass on TV and get more of that pharmaceutical industry money to line his pockets with. Well, he's history now. But they call that Ageria, and every once in a while you run into somebody like that. But there are hundreds of thousands, possibly millions of people who drink water glasses full of this colloidal silver every day, and they do not turn blue. The only time the blue thing occurs is when they drink it with tap water, or when they make it with tap water. So don't be fooled by the blue fucking guy, because that's just disinformation that the large corporations want to put out there so that it will not decrease their profit level, or profit, their bottom line. Okay, I've ranted on about this enough. Okay, I highly recommend using colloidal silver in an ultrasonic humidifier. Do not use colloidal silver in a hot, steamy type of humidifier, because that's just distilling it, right? And what happens there is if you heat it up and then the steam comes out, you're just getting the water, and it leaves the silver in the tank, right? It's just like distilling it, and that would do you no good at all. Well, it might do you some good, but very little silver will get into that vapor. With the ultrasonic humidifier, it has to be working, because it works so well. 90% of that silver must be getting into the vapor. So you will never have a you'll never have a corporate study done on this, because there's no money in it, So it's an alternative treatment. I just thought I'd throw that out there. Okay, later.